It was fact-checking done in real time. On Thursday, President Trump telling Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell that the renovation costs of the Fed's headquarters were over budget, followed by Powell fact-checking the president right then and then correcting him to say the costs were right on the mark. That moment brought the ongoing feud between the White House and the Federal Reserve front and center. But what does this all mean for the average person living here in Metro Atlanta? Time to bring in financial expert Andrew Poulos. Good to see you, Andrew.
Good morning, Cheryl.
All right, first of all, talk us through the overall role of the Federal Reserve so we understand the baseline of this story.
Sure. The Fed obviously is there to manage the nation's money supply, set interest rates, control inflation, and of course oversee the banking system to make sure that it doesn't fail and we never have what we call the run on banks, which happened about 100 years ago, right? So overall, it's just there to manage money and make sure that everything economically is stable.
And the crux really that a lot of people have their eyes on are those interest rates. Looking back at past showdowns between the president and the Fed chair, where would you put this battle, maybe in terms of intensity?
Oh, it was right up there, right? I mean, you can see no one expected that. President Trump pulled out the document out of his jacket and just called out the Fed chairman on the overspending. Fed chairman corrected him. I mean, it was a heated battle, of course, and I don't think Chairman Powell expected what President Trump pulled out. And so I think you could just see the ongoing feud between President Trump and Chairman Powell. This is basically a clash on interest rates. President Trump has made it well known he wants interest rates to come down and come down significantly. And Chairman Powell refuses. He's using the strategy that tariffs could bring inflation, and his role is to manage inflation, of course, to make sure that consumers aren't impacted negatively with higher inflation as we had during COVID. So this is quite an interesting scenario as to what happened, played out live on TV. We've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, that was quite a moment. Yet everyone at home is thinking, hey, this is all happening in front of the cameras, but real life is happening in my living room. And I'm wondering, how does that hit the average person here in the Metro Atlanta? And how serious do you see this could be in the long run for the economy?
Yeah, look, overall, I think at some point we will see lower rates. I'm just not sure that lower rates are going to be during the remaining term that Chairman Powell has, right? At this point, there's a clash. One of the things that, if you noticed over the weekend, we started getting news of more trade deals with EU, and we're getting closer to a mega trade deal from what the Trump administration is saying with China, right? So I think all of a sudden now we could see that the Trump administration is pressing on the gas, so to speak, to get more deals done, and therefore trying to corner and press the Chairman Powell to begin to lower rates. I think at this point there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of theatrics, and I just don't see the chairman bringing down the Fed, bringing down the rates right now. But at some point we will get lower rates, which is going to impact us directly as consumers. Lower interest rates on vehicle loans, which are standing right now, the other day I read, at $1.6 trillion collectively across the country in auto loans, with the average monthly auto loan being $750, which is just significantly higher than we used to pay, right? So there's a lot going on, and we could benefit from lower rates. I just think it's going to be in 2026 before we start seeing those.
$750 a month for a car. All right, before I let you go, let's talk about the what's next. Is there any legal mechanism by which the president could fire the sitting Fed chair? What kind of fallout might happen? How do you think the standoff ends?
Look, there's a lot that could play out. We could all sit here and speculate all day long as to what's going to happen. This has been playing out in front of our eyes and on cameras now since President Trump took over in January. So at this point, I think this is just going to be an ongoing feud. President Trump has made it known a few weeks ago there was speculation that he was going to fire or find a way to fire Fed Chairman Powell. He said he's not looking to do that. One concern I've got with, aside from the politics and the theatrics of it and the pressuring of Chairman Powell to lower rates and the scare tactics of he might fire him, is that right now the chairman basically acts as a voice of stability, so to speak, right? We know what we're getting with him. If we get a new Federal Reserve chairman, what will we get? How quickly will rates come down? Might Wall Street react negatively much to what we expect would happen, right? Rates come down, hooray, everyone's happy, everyone benefits from it. But Wall Street could impact negatively, and we could see a pullback potentially. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we also have to think about the systemic risks. So I think right now that we know what we're getting with Chairman Powell. We don't even know who the new chairman is going to be. There's speculations. There's names that have been thrown out there all over the place, but
Sure.
we just really don't know. So what I see right now is just the ongoing feud. And believe me, as much as I'd like to see lower rates, I just don't see that happening at the moment.
All right, so many layers to it. Andrew, always appreciate the insight. Thanks a lot.